does the historical record tell us about whether Section 3 was limited to the events of the Civil War or not?
It was not limited to the events of the Civil War, and we know that because, first, the language was general. It just referred to insurrection or rebellion. And secondly, there were senators in the debate that made pointedly clear that they thought it also should apply to any future insurrection that might occur.
Hi again, everyone. It's now 5 o'clock in New York. In courtrooms all across our country this week, questions about insurrection and January 6th and the law are being litigated, determining whether inciting the Capitol insurrection disqualifies Donald Trump from ever running for office again. At issue, whether the ex-president violated Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which reads, quote, "No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office having previously taken an oath to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof." Legal challenges based on this theory have been mounted in many states as the 2024 presidential primaries inch ever closer. This week, we saw a week-long hearing in Colorado. We've covered it on this show, where a judge heard testimony from constitutional experts, like the clip we just played you. Also heard from Capitol Police officers, members of Congress, and former Trump administration officials. The judge there said she will make a decision by Thanksgiving. State Supreme Court justices in Minnesota heard arguments yesterday over Donald Trump's eligibility. They were skeptical that states have the authority to take Trump off the ballot. This week, we also saw the former president sue Jocelyn Benson. She's, of course, familiar to viewers of this show. She's the Secretary of State of Michigan, where another 14th Amendment challenge has been filed. That suit seeks to ask a state court to block Secretary Benson from keeping Trump's name off the ballot. But for conservative former federal judge Michael Luttig, the answer is crystal clear on the law. Trump disqualified himself. Luttig and constitutional law scholar Lawrence Tribe wrote in a joint piece in The Atlantic over the summer this, quote, "The former president's efforts to overturn the 2020 presidential election and the resulting attack on the U.S. Capitol place him squarely within the ambit of the disqualification clause, and he is therefore ineligible to serve as president ever again." The most pressing constitutional question facing our democracy at this moment, then, is whether we will abide by this clear command of the 14th Amendment's disqualification clause. Here's what Judge Luttig told me last time he was on this program.
If there's one thing that I could tell the country and today, it would be that the effort to overturn the 2020 presidential election was not and is not politics. This is, as we now know from the indictments of the former president by the Department of Justice and Jack Smith, these were grave.
Okay, this is, I told you folks this is going to be a big fight, and it's going to be a big fight. It's got big money in back of it. By the way, welcome to the second hour of the War Room, our late afternoon, early evening show. It's Friday, 3 November in the year of our Lord 2023. This is on the 30 front war. This is an important front. We told you this when I first saw that article by two Federalist Society kind of mid-level guys, quote-unquote constitutional scholars that came out. It's got to be 6 months ago now. We had Dershowitz and Mike Davis on the very next morning to go through this, Professor Dershowitz, which he said the thing's ridiculous. But it's built momentum. It's built momentum because, first, there's big Republican donor money in back of this, big money. The same people that put money in back of the failed efforts of DeSantis, which has been an embarrassment. And now DeSantis is going off half-cocked and saying crazy stuff. Let me be blunt. Ron DeSantis is finished as a national political figure. Finished. We advise you should have gone back to Florida a long time ago, rolled your sleeves up, got to work, and there was still a future for you. But he is, in his crash and burn, his performances here recently on television, ill-prepared, and it shows you the quality of thought, which is not great. He is not ready for the next level. It's clear, quite clear. And Nikki Haley was never ready for the next level. But the money in back of these folks will do anything to thwart Trump. Anything. Youngkin, if Youngkin has a good night on Tuesday, immediately this massive billionaire money is going to be back up along with the Murdoch, TV for Stupid People channel to push that. And what they're going to be waving is, hey, he's going to be off the ballot. You guys are all, maybe up 60 points now, but he's not going to be on ballot. It's not going to be a ballots here. The Soros team has picked it up. And these radical secretaries of states and attorney generals, and we told you what the states were: Colorado, Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, just to name a couple of three. So it's battles full engage, and what they hope, they don't have a legal stand-up because, Ludig, bro, it's quite simple. And Salmon P. Chase told you this back, I think, in 1869. If Trump is indicted, found guilty by a jury of his peers unanimously in a federal court, and then that stands up to appeal and maybe even to the Supreme Court, hey, then maybe you got something. But your big sled dog, Jack Smith, did not indict him for insurrection. Why? Because there's not evidence of insurrection. And Kash Patel's testimony is absolutely brutal. And people should understand, and this goes back to the last hour about getting ready for the second term. And, their knitted brows, Nicole Wallace, oh, gosh, they're going to be coming after people with these lawyers. You damn right we're going to be coming after. Write that down and highlight it. In fact, write it down, underline it with the pen like I do, but then take a yellow marker and put that through it. We definitely are, no doubt. We're coming after the criminals that have conceived of and executed an invasion of our nation. They're guilty of treason. And we're going to come after the people that thwarted Trump's effort to have a safe environment on January 6th. And we're going to come after the people who stole the election. Oh, we got a lot of folks to come after. There's a lot of targets of opportunity there. I know their heads blow up with this, but hey, this is just sure as the turning of the earth. Trump is going to win the presidency again, and as sure as the turning of the earth, we are going to set things right. Yep. That's called democracy. Not what you're doing. You've shredded the Constitution. You've shredded the rule of law. And we just can't. We're not going to be a constitutional republic if we just let that go. It just can't happen. This is what I said in the speech in Pinehurst. The converging, everything in the framework of the convergence is the financial collapse of the country. You don't believe me? Go to Zero Hedge and just look at the central banks. What are the central banks in the world doing? They're buying gold at record rates. Why are they doing that? Because they understand that what the thing that transacts the world's economy, a thing called a Federal Reserve note. By the way, as irony would have it, created by Salmon P. Chase when he was Secretary of the Treasury in the War Cabinet of President Lincoln. That's a small note in history. Just remember that. Before he was Chief Justice. That Federal Reserve note has lost 17, now almost, I think, 20% purchasing power. Purchasing power. Why? Because these massive deficits on a system that is out of control. You are the only stability in the system. This audience, you are the only stability. The working class people and the middle class in this country that are kind of common sense, populist nationalists, you're the only stability that's out there. Every institution is ever out of control. The political uniparty elites out of control. The oligarchs on Wall Street and Silicon Valley out of control. You are a stabilizing factor, and you're taking more and more control every day, and that's why they hate it. The level of sophistication going on right now in Washington, D.C., of thinking through how do we get our hands around this deficit and through the single subject appropriations bill, which is what you laid down and supported in January, and God bless you, it's come to fruition, and they hate it up on Capitol Hill. They hate it. They hate it. They hate it. Because it exposes them. And don't ever listen again to some politician. I believe in limited government. I believe in fiscal responsibility. No, you don't. No, you don't. If you believed in it, you would fight for it. This is a Darwinian environment. They're not going to give you anything. They're not going to share power with you. They're not going to let your voice be heard and the actions you believe are in the best interest of the republic. They're not going to do that. Are you kidding me? They got a grip on the most powerful nation on earth. This is a nation that make the Roman Empire at the top of its game tremble in fear and awe. Do you think they're going to turn that over to working class people and middle class people? You schlebs out there, you think they're going to do that? No. You have to take it. And you're doing a pretty good job, and they hate it. And your instrument, the instrumentality of this, is on one level Donald J. Trump, and another level someone like a Mike Johnson or the people around him, that cadre around him. And that's why we call these folks providential. Because this is the act and will of God as flowing through human agency. God just doesn't intersperse here and wave a magic wand. No, it's through human agency. And it's through your agency. You are the awakened. You are the army of the awakened. And you have victory after victory after victory. And now, that's why you don't see MSNBC mocking you and ridiculing you like you see these old tired Republican clowns on Fox News, on Murdoch News Network, that come on and mock you. You're treasonous. You're chaos agents. On MSNBC, they at least they paid the respect that they fear you. Right? Nicole Wallace get those big eyes like, a deer in the headlights every show. You can smell the fear, and she should fear you because your program is quite different, quite opposite of their program. You want to smash the administrative state. You want to smash the deep state. You want to hold these people accountable for what they've done to this nation, and accountable they will be held. In the fullness of time. When I say the fullness of time, I don't mean aeons and aeons. I mean now. Every day. That's these fights you're seeing on Capitol Hill. What did they want to do? Think of the irresponsibility with a $2 trillion deficit this year. And as far as when they sit there on TV and they talk about we got to pay for Ukraine, we got to pay for allies, as far as the eye can see, the $2 trillion deficits in perpetuity. In perpetuity. And remember this, when we started talking about this, as soon as Biden took over on this show, what was going to happen? And it's all come to fruition. Go back right now. Go to Birch Gold / Bannon. Go get the End of the Dollar Empire. I think the first one, The Politics of Money, came out a couple of years ago. Show me where we've been wrong in any of this. Show me we've been wrong in the forecast. Krugman laughed at us about the inflation. Other people laughed at us about the deficits weren't going to be as big. People laughed at us about the debt ceiling. Everything we've talked about, this audience has backed, has been 1,000% right. About the border, we had people down there for years. I've been doing this border stuff since Breitbart. And now it's an absolute invasion. An invasion that was thought of, conceived of, and implemented because just like the Israelis, they think you're a colonizer. They think you're an oppressor. They don't believe, even what Kokorian was on here the other day and said nicely, I just don't think that they think that borders matter. They think it's morally, immigration is a moral, high up the moral chain. No. Kokorian's being nice. He's a gentleman. They don't think this is your country. You have to understand that. They don't think it's your country. They don't think that border exists because it doesn't exist to them. And we can continue to play these games. Oh, look at this guy run across the desert. Look at this guy run across. Is this a full-out invasion? There are at least 10 million here that Biden's let in illegally. With the fentanyl and the chemical warfare attack of the CCP and the cartels, all of it, making money and child trafficking. We don't even know where the kids are. They don't even do a 30-second DNA test on the border. Why? They don't care. They want as many of these kids coming here for God knows what reason. But it's not to protect them. To protect them, at least you find out if these are their parents. They have no interest in that. You are the only thing, you're the only group, the only entity in the world that stands between total anarchy and chaos is you. Should make you feel nervous. I want you to feel nervous. I want you to feel the weight of responsibility on your shoulders. I want that weight there. Until you accept it, until you embrace it, until you operationalize it in your own being, Because in this, I can tell you, you will be judged. You could have been born in any time and place, anywhere, in any time and place on the history of the earth, but divine providence deemed that you were going to be here in this time and place. And you have to ask yourself, why is that? What is my task and purpose? Is it to go watch NFL football or run around, do everything? You got everything in the world you could do, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do some of that. But the central part of your being as a citizen in this republic in this time and place that God, in his own wisdom, placed you here, and you're awakened. You're no longer among the sleepwalking. Remember, man is asleep. And the work on oneself is to awaken oneself. And you are awakened. You know what your duty is. You know what your purpose is. And they're going to mock and ridicule you and dismiss you and laugh at you until they ain't laughing anymore. And if you notice, there's a lot less laughing and dismissing now than there once was, wasn't it? Right? Remember back in 14 to 15, the whole thing, laugh and ridicule, and then Trump in every day, boo, boo, the Russia, the shut it down. Rebuke his presidency from the beginning. And then in 2020, he got 74 million votes and picked up net 12 congressional seats. You think he lost his presidency? Go screw yourself. I don't even want to hear your talk and your lies and your misrepresentations. Joe Biden is illegitimate, is the most illegitimate entity in the face of the earth, and you can see has no respect. Do you think they would treat a true commander-in-chief? Do you think they would respect somebody the American people really put in there, the way they treat him and dismiss him? Do you think the other powers on the earth would do that? No, they would not. Even if they hated him and disagreed with him, they fear him because he understood he had the mandate of the American people, and he has no mandate, and they understand he has no mandate. They fear Trump, and fear is a good thing. You're not gonna hug this out on the world stage. The world stage is not a place you're gonna hug it out. And people think they don't know the history of Gandhi. They don't know the history of Martin Luther King. They don't know the history of people that had to fight every step of the way. Nobody hugs it out. Not hugging things out. You saw hugging it out on Obama, and look what it got you. Got a Nobel Prize, in his first day on the job? That worked out well, didn't it? World was a really safe place. It was a safe place when Trump took over. I don't care if you hate the sound of his name. Look at what the world was then and what the world is today. And there are many people in the African American community, in the Hispanic community, in the former Democrats and liberals are sitting there, and in the dark of the night, they're saying, hey, as much as I couldn't stand that guy, as much as I can't stand hearing his voice, as much as I can't stand his tweets, the world was a safer place. America was more prosperous. Maybe he was onto something. And that's what this fight is about. And there's no middle ground. There's none. There is no compromise. There is no compromise. There is no compromise. And if people tell you, oh, we got cut deals and compromise, they are nothing more than controlled opposition. There is no compromise. It will either be their way or it'll be our way. And one side's going to win and one side's going to lose. And I will tell you right now, we are not going to lose. We're not. You can feel it. You can see it. And particularly, I can see it. I can smell the fear, and I can see the fear in their eyes. Yep. You can. Now, does that mean it's a foregone conclusion? Does that mean we're just going to snap our fingers and it's going to happen? No. This is a long, tough grind. And just winning in 2024, don't just like in 16, everybody dance around and, hey, nobody showed up in 18. It's not going to happen. What do you think we're doing all this work to get ready and to get people ready? And then do you think every day is going to be Stalingrad? Do you think they're just going to sit there and go, hey, this is terrific. This is terrific. The War Room Posse, they all showed up. They want to be in charge. This is great. Let's just toss them the keys. No. They have control of the most powerful entity in the history of mankind, the United States of America. And guess what? As a bonus, they got the Federal Reserve. They got a permanent printing machine of money. Think they're just going to stop that and say, isn't this terrific? Melissa Katz is going to join us next. Melissa Katz is here, and JoJo and Grace Chung and all the great followers we have out there. They want to have a say they run things. That's terrific. That's great. Mike Davis, Boris Epstein, Jeff Clark. Let's name them all. The Congressman Gates, they're going to run things. They want to do it. This is terrific. Let's just do it. Let's do it their way. You think that's going to happen? Oh, no, 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 no. It doesn't work that way. But I tell you the way it does work is what you've done to date. Starting with, so many victories. Look at Paxton. We had Melissa Katz on here during the PAX thing. Our back was against the wall on Paxton. We had no help at all. Paxton had no help at all. You know what we had? We had the ability to have the grassroots in Texas say, over our dead bodies, we let the Bush apparatus that destroyed this country so much and done so many awful things in Texas, and yes, awful things in Texas. The border down there would not be open if it was not for the Bush apparatchiks. Texas would not be overrun if it was not for the Bush apparatchiks. And you stood your ground. And those senators that were sitting there, it was all baked. It was just as cooked as this deal in Denver. And by the way, the deal in Denver, they've rattled her cage too. She's sitting there going, ugh. Oh my Lord, look at the testimony. Because you're up in their grills. They don't understand anything else. You're not going to hug this out. You think they're hugging it out? You think they're hugging it out? Donald Trump is up for 700 years, almost a millennium, in a federal prison. And to bankrupt him, they're out there in the Moscow show trial right now to take his company that his father and he and his kids have worked on for 70 or 80 years and liquidate it before your eyes. And not just that, they think so much of you and they think so much of democracy. They don't want him on the ballot because they know if he's on the ballot, he's going to win in Colorado. He's going to win in Arizona. He's going to win in Michigan, in Minnesota, in Pennsylvania, and in Wisconsin, Georgia, all of it. They know that. They can see the tectonic plate shift. These people are not fools. They're smart and they're tough and they're evil. Don't take it from me. Look with your own eyes. Look with your own eyes. And then when you're awakened, you awaken somebody else. And that's what I'm saying. This Thanksgiving, rub their noses in it. Don't let them go sit and watch football, watch the Dallas Cowboys afterwards. No. Get up in their grill. Oh, Bannon, you're taking a family holiday. The country's at risk. You damn right take a family holiday. All those family members that have trash talked Trump and everybody else, get in their face, say, hey, what's happening in the Middle East? How's Israel doing? How are these college campuses? How's that liberalism? How's the southern border? Get up in their grill. Give them indigestion. It's no time to have a sit around and hold hands and pretend it didn't happen. It has happened. And you are the enlightened ones. You're the empowered ones. You're the awakened ones. You have a duty. This is not something that you have a duty and obligation to do this. This is your dharma. You have a duty to do this. Not something you kind of want to do. You have a duty and a moral obligation to do it. Don't let them sit there afterwards and get a piece of pumpkin pie and go and sit in the den and watch football. No, particularly the ones that have been in your grill from day one in the last couple of years. Get in their face. You say, Bannon, he's crazy. He's going to ruin Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's ruined. What are you talking about? We have 10 million illegal alien invaders in the nation. We're absolutely broke. And this is all happening in real time. And people are dancing around like, oh, let's put some border security in the Ukraine bill so that the grifters and the money laundering operation and the child trafficking operation and the biolabs and the scab that is Ukraine can get $80 billion more dollars. Even Biden, let's slap a couple policy changes. That's what we need is a policy change on the border. Here's what you need on the border. You need to seal it 1,000%. And tell anybody you cross it, you're going to go to prison until we ship you back to where you came from. Thanksgiving. Lincoln thought of Thanksgiving. If Lincoln came back here today for all the suffering they did in the Civil War and seeing what we made of this, what do you think he would do? Put the turkey away and get in somebody's face. You know why the liberals are going to go nuts in this? Because we're winning. You get in their face, and you're going to see them all the time, all my liberal buddies. They're in full meltdown now. Tell them to walk across a college campus right now. Tell them to come out and support Israel. Where are all the entertainment industry? Where's your big support of Israel? Where is it? Where is it? You gutless cowards. You are gutless cowards. Where is it? Bring it. Where's all your support? You wilt. Sarah Silverman, what? You wet yourself as soon as they came after you and your big mouth. Where is it? Bring it. And the reason you got to bring it on Thanksgiving, of all these people been in your grill for years, because you're right and they know you're right. And that's the beginning of change. We didn't say change is going to be easy. We didn't say change is going to be pleasant. We didn't say turbulence. Turbulence is not pleasant. It's not. A fourth turning is not pleasant. Write that down. Number 2 pencil. It is not pleasant. It's not supposed to be pleasant. Go back and look at the history of this country. You think the change that happened in this country was a pleasant event? Afterwards, when you reach the sunlit uplands, for decades after that, it's pleasant. But not in the moment. It's not supposed to be, and it's not going to be. Short commercial break. Melissa Katz and Joe Allen will join us after a short commercial break.
War Room Battleground with Stephen K. Bannon.
Okay, thank you. Let's bring in Melissa Katz, Mighty American Strike Force. We got elections on Tuesday. You guys, once again, are manning the ramparts, and you're doing it this time with phone banks, etc. Melissa, tell us what you guys are setting up and how can people participate?
Okay, we actually have some volunteers that are in Kentucky, but we're looking for more volunteers to help do phone calling. And it's an easy process. So if people want to volunteer to make phone calls, and you can be anywhere in the country, they can go to our website, www.masf.online. But I know there's a lot of posse in Kentucky. So as Terry Schilling said this morning, it's about turnout. And there's 350,000, whether they're Republicans or independents or even Democrats. This is about values, this election. And the current governor, as Terry said this morning, he vetoed legislation and for men not to be able to participate, they could participate in women's sports. That's ridiculous. I played sports in high school and I couldn't imagine that. But anyway, we could get people to help if they're there already. I mean, if they live there, then they can help and we can get them in touch with people with the campaign for Daniel Cameron and his campaign. And we have some Mighty American Strike Force volunteers and team leaders like myself there helping out. But I'm in Dallas, I'm in Texas. I'm wearing my Texas Ranger t-shirt. And we just need more people that want to make phone calls. And you can just make it for an hour, 2 hours, but between now and Tuesday, including on Tuesday, reminding voters to get out and vote, take people, take neighbors, ask them if they're going, if they voted, if not, get them there.
The backstory here is that Cameron was down about 15 to 17 points, 4 weeks ago. Terry Schilling and others, look, there's been a lot of people pitching this campaign, but particularly made this case that the governor, who they put across as kind of this moderate guy that you would, have a backyard barbecue, is actually quite radical. They've done spots. The polling out today by Emerson, it's a dead heat. This is all about turnout. And there are 350,000 Trump voters in the Commonwealth of Kentucky that haven't traditionally come out in off presidential year cycles. That is the difference here in victory and defeat is those, and that's why these phone banks, etc. One more time, Melissa, where do people go to find out more about the Mighty American Strike Force and to see if they want to participate in the phone bank?
www.masf.online, or they can reach out to me on my social media. I'm on Getter under Melissa M, like Melissa Katz, Katz. And then I'm on X, Melissa M. Katz, USA. I had to use that on that one. And then on Truth, Melissa M. Katz, 1776. And it's easy. We can.
Melissa, thank you.
Yep.
Melissa is one of the key people on this, pulling people together on the impeachment. of Ken Paxton, one of the grassroots who's got fired up. Melissa, we got to bounce. Thank you so much. Mighty American Strike Force. Go check it out today. Next 72 hours is going to be very, very important. Remember, if Bashir wins on Tuesday, he's going to be in the short list of folks you're going to see in 2028. So this is a very big deal. There's 350,000 Trump supporters in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. It's kind of hard to believe, right, with Mitch McConnell. No. The Commonwealth of Kentucky, great folks, great patriots, fabulous state, beautiful state, great people. We got a lot of War Room posse there. Go there, check out it. See how you can put your shoulder to the wheel. Next 72 hours is going to be very, very important in a governor's race that is in a dead heat. I'm really proud of, and we got Joe Allen is traveling around the country, bringing the book Dark Aeon to a neighborhood to you and have discussions about it, give talks. So he's going all over the country. We're following him closely. But Joe, I really appreciate the artificial intelligence conference in London has people's heads are blowing up. And I looked at this and I said, Joe, here's the amazing thing. This is kind of what you've been doing and talking to the War Room Posse about for the last couple of years. Talk to me about that. Then I want to play your cold open.
Yes, Steve, everything that we've discussed in regard to existential risk, everything we've discussed in regard to the proliferation of deep fakes, and maybe most pertinent at the moment, what we've discussed in regard to AI enabling biotechnology to go out of hand, to create bioweapons or even accidentally create more virulent pathogens. That's all been discussed the last 2 days by some 100 representatives from some 28 countries in Bletchley Park, London. It's not that no one paid attention to it, as any listener to the War Room knows, but most of these issues have kind of been swept to the side. Now they're exploding on the public's consciousness. And it's really interesting to watch this unfold, because what I see primarily are these governments, the ones at the lead, China, the US, and of course the body of the EU. They are basically hitching their cart to a massive machine, that being artificial intelligence, and reassuring the public that they're going to make it safe and effective.
This is the key point. I mean, what has shocked me, and maybe let's get the cold open, but what has shocked me has been the acquiescence. Like, this is something that's it's like the second law of thermodynamics. This is not the second law of thermodynamics. Just not. Human agency can change everything here. The direction of this, how it's used, slowing it down, shutting it down. We could do that. And that's what's so stummy about this conference. And of course, the ultimate buffoon, and I realize I pick on this guy a lot, but Elon Musk, I mean, he makes these statements like there will be, artificial intelligence is going to take over all work, right? All work. Anyway, let's play the cold open. I want to get Joe back in here.
We start with insight. I think there's a lot of concern among people in the AI field that that the government will sort of jump the gun on rules before knowing what to do, and I think that's unlikely to happen. I think what we're really aiming for here is to establish a framework for insight, so that there's at least a third-party referee, an independent referee, that can observe what leading AI companies are doing, and at least sound the alarm if they have concerns. I don't know what necessarily the fair rules are, but you've got to start with insight before you do oversight. And here we are for the first time, really, in human history, with something that's going to be far more intelligent than us. So it's not clear to me we can actually control such a thing, but I think we can aspire to guide it in a direction that's beneficial to humanity. But I do think it's one of the existential risks that we face, and it's potentially the most pressing one.
This is a moment of profound opportunity. The benefits of AI are immense. It could give us the power to fight the climate crisis. So I do believe that the voice that we have offered in this global discussion has been significant. It has been a priority, for example, for us to ensure that civil society have an equal voice at the table. As I said in my speech yesterday, civil society has always played a very unique and important role, in holding public and private sector to account.
Have it. You know what, Joe? It was great because as much as I'm on Elon Musk, at least as dangerous as what he's talking about, at least it's from a guy you know has a megawatt brain. And then you get the word salad. I don't ever really, I can't really follow her because it's almost like having, you know, when you were a kid and you had these precocious kids who were smart Alex when the parents were around, they just start talking and string together words that wouldn't make any sense. That's her. I don't know why and the AI conference, as important as this AI conference is about the future and direction of man, you send our beloved vice president. Okay, welcome back. We kind of had a hard drop there. Lindell TV, our producer for this, we do the other 3 hours with Real America's Voice. We do this hour with the team at Lindell TV. We had a hard drop. Do we have Joe back up? Yeah. Joe Allen, I want to go back, and I thank our audience for hanging in there. I want to go back to Elon Musk, because what he said, and as you know, I'm not a big fan, but what he said is quite profound in a way I don't know if he knew it was profound or not. He's making our case that, oh, well, you don't know what direction this is going to take, right? And, you know, maybe it'll work out, correct?
Yes, Elon Musk, just like Sam Altman, much like Demis Hassabis at DeepMind, they all are riding on the assumption that the systems that they're creating right now are on the verge of becoming human-level intelligence, and they anticipate, they vary in dating, but the most aggressive, which has increased in number profoundly in the last year and a half, they are arguing that greater than human intelligence will be summoned in this machine. And of course, by its nature, if it were to be greater than human, it would be out of control. And so Musk is talking about trying to guide it as you would guide a child. They talk about this all the time. Many of them, like Mo Gaudat, also of Google, talk about it as if it were God as a child. That this thing is destined to become a God on earth, artificial general intelligence, artificial super intelligence, that these are going to be gods. And so they are children now. They must learn to be good so that when they are more powerful than us, they will be good gods. And apparently you've got Musk, you've got the guys from Google, you've got guys from Anthropic and Inflection AI, and they are also talking about using the government to guide these godlike AIs to become good, to make sure the digital god is safe and effective. You had the AI summit in London. You also had, a few days before, on October 30th, you had the EO from the Biden White House, the executive order on creating safe, secure, and trustworthy artificial intelligence. And you think about the role of the government in protecting its citizens, and I think that it is a very, very important one, perhaps critical one, for all civilization. But what have we heard? Where have we heard safe and effective before? Well, obviously, in regard to vaccines of dubious character at best, right? Where have we heard secure before? Well, of course, the most secure elections in history. And trustworthy in regard to the present government, the present regime, I think, is just laughable on its face. So now the Biden White House is promising to make sure that Americans have data protection, which I'm all about, but completely unconvinced that Biden and his cronies are going to push for anything like that to help us. Maybe more ominous, they're pushing for control of disinformation and misinformation. Of course, we saw all of that unfold in the 2020 election. We saw that unfold during the pandemic. What it gets defined as mis and disinformation is going to be incredibly politically charged. And it also perhaps gives the government a means of covering large corporations who will not be as subject to the scrutiny as, say, a war room listener might be in trying to combat disinformation and misinformation, however that's defined. And, really, Steve, the thing that makes me the most irritated about all this is this extreme emphasis on how we're going to make sure that AI is not racist, sexist, and homophobic. They're talking about making AI accountable to biases on the basis of gender and race, meaning that any algorithm that is made legal or verified will be weighted against the obvious wicked enemy of our age, the white Christian heterosexual male. And you also have a push to diversify the workforce in Silicon Valley, which means not only hiring quotas for companies. I'm not really all that worried about those guys, but it's still the principle of it, hiring quotas for those companies, and also an expansion of the immigration program so that more foreigners will take the lucrative jobs in Silicon Valley. All this is to say that in general, the real focus to me should be the long-term trajectory. These people want to create a system that they will declare to be superhuman and better able to make decisions than us, than the populace. And none of that is being addressed. And another thing that really isn't being addressed in any direct way, as they talk about the creation of this digital god, it takes the attention away from people like Elon Musk, people like Sam Altman, people like Eric Schmidt from Google, or Demis Hassabis from Google's DeepMind, or Mark Zuckerberg from Meta. So yeah, I guess it's good that the governments around the world are taking this seriously and paying attention to it. But in general, I see inept governments that are basically stacked against us. I see corporations trying to partner with these governments in public-private partnerships to bring on the fourth industrial revolution. And you have the outliers of the accelerationists who want to create digital gods without government oversight. I am not optimistic that any of these people can be turned to help us or save us. I do believe that responsibility lies for right now squarely on our own shoulders.
Joe, where do people go, quickly, where do people go for your amazing tour? You get to see Joe in person. Talk to him about this. This is the most informed young man in this country on this topic. Where do people go?
I really hope you guys will come out to Indianapolis, Indiana, first stop, November 5th. That's 2 days. Then you have November 8th, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. November 15th, special presentation in Nashville, Tennessee. November 18th, Kansas City, Missouri. November 19th, Dallas, Texas, just added in an old movie theater. Cannot wait for that. And then December 2nd in Los Angeles, California with the American Freedom Alliance. Get the tickets now while you still can. All the links are up on the warroom.org website under the transhumanism tab. You can find them at my site, joebot.xyz, and I'm putting them right at the top of my social media with links to get ticketed or to get tickets for those events that are ticketed. I really cannot wait to see you guys out there.
Joe, thank you so much, brother. The book is amazing. If you want to get more, go to Amazon and get Dark Aeon. Really appreciate it, Joe. Fantastic work. Keep it up.
Thank you very much, Steve.
We'll have more to say. Thanks, brother. We'll have more to say about this AI conference in London. Quite important. Make sure you go to Birch Gold. Do your homework assignment, not just the end of the dollar empire, but go to the Birch Gold team, Philip Patrick. Talk to them about, just ask the question, why the zero hedge story where we're on a record year, following a record year of central banks buying gold and the Chinese Communist Party leading that by like an order of magnitude. Have them explain that one to you. Then go in a corner and get a cold bottle of water or a hot cup of coffee, have a beverage, and just think about it. And then you make the decisions. Birchgold.com/Bannon. Go check it out today. We got all the information about the end of the dollar empire. Also, this for people, look, we're an active audience of activists. This magnificent phone, Unplug. Go to unplug.com. Built by Eric Prince and his team. Took them years to do this. It's to make sure that, Apple and Google and these people cannot get your data, that the government can't listen into your phone calls. The most secure phone made. Years in the process. Don't take it from me. Go to unplug.com. Check it out. Immerse yourself in the information and see if this is the type of phone that you want to have, or as importantly, maybe you want to get your kids when they're ready to get a phone, get it for them. Unplug.com. This has been a long time working with people that are specialists, experts in security, and particularly, how do I say this? IC security. Not just the intelligence community, but go check it out today. Okay, tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, we're going to have a special. Jack Posobiec's going to be at this cross-continental conference of a lot of conservative and, dare we say, right-wing organizations and leaders in Serbia and Belgrade. We're going to be there live with Jack Posobiec. We're also Dr. Taylor Marshall's going to be with us. hopefully many other guests. We're going to talk about the geopolitics of today. What's happening, what's really happening behind the scenes. See you tomorrow.